What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live here on a Monday, kicking your week off right with another edition of Picks Against the Spread and some more trade talk. That's what the stream is going to be today. We'll discuss the Utah Jazz reportedly being interested in Robert Covington and maybe take a couple trade questions, and we'll start things off with 4 games for Picks Against the Spread. Pretty simple stream. Eric, how's it going?
Oh, it's fine. How about you?
It's going good. It's going good, man. Just ready to get things underway. So let's just jump straight in as we always do. Let's not waste any time. Let's take a look at the Picks Against the Spread standings. So there was only 3 games on last Thursday. Only 4 games today. So light slate for Picks Against the Spread. Jackson. Look how beautiful that looks, Eric. Jackson, 0-4 on
it
Thursday.
Look beautiful because I did the same thing.
Oh, well, yeah, that's ugly. I don't like that for you.
I only worry about myself, not Jackson, so I don't.
Yeah, well, I'm worried about Jackson. That's what's motivating me to catch up to him. So, 3 games back, I gained a game. Happy I couldn't take better advantage of that. Chat, you guys went 2-2. You won your double down, lost the other 2. Connor gained 3 games on Jackson. Zach also went 3-1 alongside Connor. So that is the standings. Let's jump into game number 1 that we got today. We got an Eastern Conference matchup between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the New York Knicks being played in Cleveland. Cleveland is a 5-point favorite. Eric, what are the injuries?
For the Knicks, we've got Derrick Rose and Mitchell Robinson out. For the Cavs, Markkanen, Sexton, Rubio out, and Jarrett Allen a late scratch in this one. Do you have Krish's picks? I do not see him in here.
I do not. No, I do not have his picks. There's always a mod missing. That's just how it goes at this point. There's the chat poll chat. Zach's cheating and recruiting outside help. Zach's going Cavs. I'm just kidding. Cavs for Zachary. Connor going Cavs. I'm gonna go Cavs. Always gotta believe in my Cavs. Hello.
Hi, Mom.
I'm just giving you crap like always, Zach. You know how it is. Mateo's calling Mobley going crazy tonight. Chat 61% Cavs. Jackson is going Cavs. We might get a clean vote here for Cleveland. Is Trevin in here?
There's Trevin.
Trevin says Cavs. He says Krish is going Knicks, which honestly he would definitely go Knicks here. What are you going with, Eric?
Yeah. I have a bad feeling about this game, but I'm going to go Cavs.
Alrighty. Alongside us, chat, we're going to end the poll, chat. It's very, very close, but it looks like it's the Cleveland Cavaliers for chat. 52% of the vote was the last that I saw, so they're going Cleveland. And I guess we'll wait on Krish. We already know what he would go here, though, Eric. Knowing Krish, let's just move on to game number 2. You got the Pelicans hosting the Pacers, and the Pelicans are 3.5-point home favorites.
So the Pelicans are without Zion, Kira Lewis, Brandon Ingram, and Devontae Graham is questionable. So a lot of people out for them. For the Pacers, TJ Warren, TJ McConnell, Miles Turner, DeMontis Sabonis, Brogdon, all out. LeVert, questionable.
They played well, missing their big men. Didn't they beat Golden State without Turner and Sabonis?
Something like that, yeah, and the Lakers. LeVert was just made available to play, so no longer questionable.
Okay. I am going to go with the Pelicans. Jackson goes Pacers. Zach goes Pels. Connor said this is the game everyone loses for some reason. Well, that's not possible. Pels for Connor.
Where is Krish?
I don't know. Might as well just pick against the grain for all of them. I'm sure he'd be happy with that. Oh, I didn't put Jackson's pick in there. What am I doing, man? There's Jackson. Good old yellow Pacers logo. Oh, yeah. Just like the Warriors game, because we all picked Warriors as like 13-point favorites, and then they lost. That was something.
I'm going to take the Pacers.
Eric is going with the Pacers. What's up, Sude? Waiting on Trevin, and then we'll end it for chat. Trevin goes Pacers as well. Alright. Well, we got a pattern going. That's cool. Chat, it's another close vote. It looks like 54%, and we can do a chat poll for Double Down. So don't even worry about percentages. Alright. Pelicans for chat. Alright, game number 3. You got OKC hosting Chicago. Chicago is a 1.5 point road favorite.
This spread just changed. We might want to update it because of the news that DeRozan is now out of this game. So the Thunder are now a 1 point favorite.
Alright, give me a sec. We'll have it updated in 10 seconds.
So the Bulls are without Lonzo Ball, Alex Caruso, Pat Williams, Derek Jones, and DeMar DeRozan. The Thunder are without Favors, Poku, and Maladon. But Levine is going to play, but be on a minutes restriction. Javonte Green and Vucevic also questionable in this game.
Oh, come on, Photoshop. Stop lagging. Yeah, OKC's a 1 point favorite. That makes things interesting.
And the Bulls that are playing are on a back-to-back as well.
Yeah. Damn.
I'm going to take the Thunder.
There's chat poll. So they have Vucevic and Levine.
Vucevic is questionable. They haven't ruled.
Vucevic is questionable.
Ruled whether he's playing or not. Yeah.
So who do they have? Kobe White, Io.
Yep.
That's gross. Trevin's going Thunder. Zach's going Thunder. Oh, this is so gross.
Jackson said Thunder.
So they got Kobe White. I think I'm gonna have to go Thunder too. I think they'll have more talent on the court.
Connor went Bulls.
All right. Good luck with that one, Connor. Jackson, do I? Alright, we're going to end chat poll. Chat's going Thunder, so it looks like this would maybe be an island for Connor, depending on if/when Krish shows up. Alright, fourth and final game. We got a pretty good battle because it's Phoenix and Utah, but Utah's actually been really struggling lately, and Phoenix is an 11-point home favorite.
Yeah, that is because Conley, Gobert, Mitchell all out for the Jazz. Bogdanovich, Ingles, O'Neal all questionable. So for the Suns, they're without Campaign, Saric, Kaminsky, and Crowder. Nader's questionable. DeAndre Ayton doubtful.
This is a tough game, honestly.
Yeah.
Trevin's going Suns. Jackson's going Suns. Chat's loving the Suns in this one. Zach's going with Utah. This is a gross slate of games, honestly.
You say that every time, I feel like.
Lately, it's been a gross slate of games. I don't know. For some reason, when there's not that many games, it's like they're always tough to pick. It'll be like a 3-game or 4-game slate, and it'll be like Utah missing their whole starting lineup, and then Phoenix missing Crowder and Ayton, and Booker's coming off a terrible game, and yeah. I'm gonna take the Suns. Connor, I'm sorry about that. I apologize. I didn't know it was contagious.
Hurts. The Suns, in order to win the game, would still have to win by more than 11. That's why you would maybe pick the Jazz in this.
Yeah. Yep, and that's why it's called picks against the spread. Otherwise, it'd just be picks, which doesn't have a ring to it and makes no sense. Connor's going Suns.
I'm going to take the Suns, too.
All right, Eric Suns, Connor Suns, Chris would probably go Jazz, Chat Suns.
Is anyone able to text Chris?
No, I don't think anybody has his number. I don't think anybody talks to him like that. I don't know, though. Could be wrong. Jazz 67%. Why am I waiting for the percentage? Wait, was it Jazz? No, Suns. 6. Dude, I can't read. I am tripping. All right, Suns for chat. Let's go to double downs. Chat, I'll put a double down. Poll. I'm not going to put the spreads in the poll. I'm going to be lazy with it. I will go through the spreads one more time. You got Cleveland 5-point favorites. You got New Orleans 3.5-point favorites. You got OKC 1-point favorites, and you got Phoenix 11-point favorites.
That's not how that works, Clay. If you took Jazz at plus 420, that means you took them to win the game, not on the spread. Unless you're saying you both bet on the money line and the spread.
Yeah, that's the money line. So basically, yeah. Oh, he's just saying he placed a bet on both of them. That's what he's saying.
Okay.
Got you.
So if the Suns cover, you win. You lose double.
That's always fun. I don't know what I want to go with for my double down. Connor's going Bulls. Trevin's going OKC.
I'm gonna take the Pacers as my double down.
Trevin, OKC. Where's the OKC logo? There. Connor went Bulls, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, Connor Bulls. You went Pacers. Jackson goes Pacers.
Jackson and I had all the same picks again today. Hopefully we don't go 0 for again.
Jackson's doubling down against me. Ooh. You know what? Ooh. Honestly, I'm gonna let it ride against Jackson. I'm gonna double down on the Pelicans. That will be the the one game I'm paying attention to. Connor says he's feeling 0-5 today. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Connor. Sounds like it's been a tough day for you, man. Zach is going Cavs. And Chat is going with the Cleveland Cavaliers as well. Which is weird because the Suns got a high majority of the vote. Do you just want to pick against... Oh my goodness. What a ringtone. Do you just want to pick against the grain for Krish? What do you want to do for that? Okay. Yep. Okay, sounds good. All right. Krish would pick Knicks here, guaranteed. He'd also double down on Knicks, so I'm gonna do that now. He would double down on his island. You did this to yourself, Krish. Krish. Do I have a coin? I'll just flip a coin for this guy. I don't know. Who does Krish like? The Pacers or the Pelicans? I don't know. Krish would go Bulls.
Chris just needs to show up.
Yeah. Or send me his picks in advance. Not that hard. And he'd go Jazz. For this game, I'll give him Pacers. I'll make it a split vote. There we go. Watch Krish go 5-0.
So what'd you
He
get?
needs it. Huh? I went Knicks, because he loves his island. Pacers.
Bulls.
And then Jazz.
Okay.
And then he doubled down
On the Knicks?
on his islands. Yep. On his island, yeah. There it is. Boom. Picks
Right.
against the spread. That's a wrap. All right. So, something that I heard about 3 weeks ago was that Utah was interested in Robert Covington, and there was just a rumor drop today that the Jazz are interested in Robert Covington. So, you know, maybe my source has been verified a little bit for me. I don't know. But yeah, so apparently the Utah Jazz are interested in Robert Covington, which is intriguing. Go ahead.
There was a report like a month ago that was public knowledge.
No, I wasn't knowledge to me.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Everyone dismissed it because they don't really have the right trade pieces, probably. But.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about those, like, lack of trade pieces, though, and how it could kind of affect this thing. So, the Jazz have been linked to Jeremy Grant. I think Covington would be more of a backup option if they don't get Jeremy Grant. They would have to match his salary, and that would look like either Joe Ingles or some combination of like Rudy Gay. Let me pull up their cap sheet here. Utah. Yeah, Joe Ingles making $13 million. Robert Covington is making $12.9 million. Easy match, right? They could trade Clarkson for him. I don't think Portland would want Clarkson back. Clarkson makes no sense here and is on a 3-year, about $12 to $13 million a year contract. They could send out Royce O'Neal and another contract. They could send out Rudy Gay in minimums, but that doesn't get them close. So I don't think Rudy Gay could actually be the main matching piece there. So it'd probably have to be Royce O'Neal and a contract. A minimum contract would work, or Joe Ingles. That's like the two ways they could match.
They're seemingly done with Ingles, and that's who they're looking to trade as the main contract.
Which is weird to me. Why are they done with him? He's been kind of I wouldn't say their heart and soul, but he's been kind of a guy like that there.
I want to say he's 34 and kind of showing his age a little bit.
Yeah,
he was so good last year though, but yeah, it's kind of fallen off this year a little bit.
His 3-point percentage went down from 45 to 35%. So a lot of his value obviously cratered when that happened, and then defensively, I don't think he's been as good. So, he's getting up there in age. Here's the thing. Here's what it comes down to. The Blazers would want a first-round pick back for Robert Covington. That's what they want. When it comes down to teams that the only way they can match salary is giving up a player of some sort of value, then it becomes a little iffy. I know we talked about like Derrick Jones Jr. and our first back for Rocco, but our first doesn't have a ton of value if we're in the lottery, because obviously it turns into a first next year. So, and then potentially future years down the line. So it's a situation where it's already kind of iffy on would they really give up Joe Ingles in a first for Robert Covington. Joe Ingles is an expiring contract.
It's actually sounding like they might.
I mean, if that's the case, then that's good, because you can try and, if there's 3 teams willing to give up a first-round pick for Robert Covington, then you say, okay, which one of you are willing to give up a second-round pick? If they're all willing to give up a second-round pick, you say, okay, which one of you is willing to give up 2 second-round picks? Right? And you just kind of extract the most value out that way. Eric, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, before we get too interested in picks, the Jazz can't even trade a first until 2028. So
yeah,
it would have to be their 2028 first, which I'm kind of fine with, because teams that are good, that are looking to make win now moves, I'm fine with taking a pick that far into the future, because you never know like how good they'll be in 6 years.
They have to be unprotected, right?
Well, yeah, I guess you could say if it doesn't convey that year, it turns into a second or something. Yeah, I think you could maybe make it work.
That year.
Yeah, so, but yeah, it'd probably have to be unprotected. So yeah.
I don't know, because my whole idea is, like, if we got a first back from a different team for Rocco, that's when you take it to Chicago and you offer that first-round pick for ours back. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, if you can't make Rocco to Chicago work, you just make Rocco to another team work for a first, and then you try and use that first, maybe attach some cash, maybe a second-round pick to get our first from Chicago back so that we can trade all our future firsts potentially in a bigger deal. Now, it doesn't make a ton of sense if there's no big deals out there, but, I mean, this offseason, we got to figure out a way to get that pick back, especially if we're in the, I guess it wouldn't matter if we're in the playoffs and the pick conveys to Chicago, because then after that we have all our future firsts. There's no protections left because the pick conveyed to them. But if we're in the lottery in the offseason, we're going to have to try and figure out a way to get our pick back if we want to make any sort of splashy move. That's basically the situation. So, a 2028 first, I don't... If Chicago's like willing to kind of move off our first round pick because they don't know when it's going to come, I don't see them valuing a pick in 2028 over that. You know what I'm saying?
I don't. But yeah, I mean, if you get enough future first, I don't think we really need to worry about our first then.
I guess, but it's like,
and also,
how many future firsts are we gonna get?
If we had a first in 2028, we could then trade. Maybe figure out a way to trade our 2027 or 2028, the reverse protections or something. I don't know, because we'd have a first that was guaranteed.
Yeah, I don't see Utah making any sense for Robert Covington in terms of what they could give us back. They have a second round pick this year. It's via Memphis, so it's going to be very low. They don't have another second until 2025. I don't want to settle for 2 seconds, one of which is low for Robert Covington. I want a first-round pick back. So that's where things get really iffy with them, is it'd have to be 2028. The only other way would be for them to kind of mess around with some protections on picks, and then they could send us, maybe an earlier first-round pick, but are they willing to lower protections on a first-round pick and then send out another one for Robert Covington? I doubt it, especially if they're giving up Joe Ingles, who I think, they're done with supposedly, but I feel like they would still think he has a little bit of value. I don't know. That's what makes things iffy with Utah.
I don't know if you're able to get this, but I put a trade idea into my folder on OneDrive.
Okay, sure. You want me to throw it up on the stream?
You can look at it first. I don't know if you want to talk about it. But yeah, the Jazz are also interested in Jeremy Grant, but the thing is, I don't think we're talking about them maybe not even having the assets to get a Robert Covington, so I don't know how they would get a Jeremy Grant with less or the same assets,
Yeah, that's what's annoying this time of year is it's like Lakers have shown or Lakers have explored a Ben Simmons trade. It's like, how in the world are you going to get Ben Simmons with only one future first you can trade, and you'd have to use Russell Westbrook as the salary matching piece? It doesn't make any sense unless they trade out Anthony Davis, which they're not going to trade Anthony Davis for Ben Simmons, and if they do, they're even dumber than I thought. So, like Lakers reports attaching them to being interested in Ben Simmons, like, okay, and I'm interested in, I don't know, insert model name here, all right? That doesn't mean I'm a getter. It doesn't mean I have any chance. You know what I mean? So I hate those reports that just link good teams to players and they don't have the assets to get them, and there's no shot they get them.
And for those asking, Azubuike, it doesn't do anything for me as in terms of like a positive asset in a trade. Nope. I mean, nope, I don't think he has very much value.
Yeah, do not care.
Although, I will say this. I am kind of interested in that 2027 first from the Lakers if they have to settle for trading that for like a Robert Covington or like if we found a team that would value Talen Horton-Tucker enough to get a first, then we could somehow get 2 firsts out of Norm, trade to them, and sending Tucker to a third team. I wouldn't mind that either.
Yeah. I am a little bit wary about assets that are so far in the future. I'm not sure if they could help Dame. The only way that asset could help Dame is if we flipped it. You know what I'm saying? It could be a good piece to have like after Dame, or Dame will probably hopefully still be on the team in 2027, but he'll be what, like 36, 37?
Oh.
I guess Chris Paul's that age, so maybe that asset could help. I don't know.
So,
I'm just a little bit more worried about that.
In 2015, the Miami Heat sent a 2021 unprotected pick to the Suns. They used that pick to get Mikal Bridges. And then that pick was flipped from Philadelphia to the Clippers to get Tobias Harris. And then it was the main pick that the Clippers used to get as part of the package to get Paul George. So it's not like we can't use a future unprotected first with some value to get trades like that.
But we're not the Suns were in like long-term rebuild mode in 2015, right? So, if we were in long-term rebuild mode, I say, oh, hell yeah, I'll take that pick, because it's a situation where maybe you have like 3 really good young players, future all-stars, that are starting to kind of come into their own and are still very young by the time that pick becomes available to us. That's like really good timing.
I just said it was to be used in a trade, not to be used.
Well, that's what I said. I said it would have value if you could flip it, yeah. Outside of flipping it, it's not something that I don't know. It doesn't necessarily help Dame's timeline, and especially with the Lakers. Like, I know they look bad now and look like they have a bleak future, but in 2026, they could sign 2 all-stars and be good again. So it's kind of hard to project exactly where they might be down the road. I would probably count on them bouncing back. Hopefully not. I hate to say it, but
I think
So,
outside of LeBron signing their front office is a joke, and
oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Oh, dude, absolutely. But it's also LA. And I hate that because
But
if we had the Lakers front office up here and we've, had a very questionable front office, we would be the worst franchise in the league. We'd be chasing a lottery pick, and then we'd use that lottery pick on, I don't know, the next Yorgos Papagiannis. That's kind of how that'd go. But they can get away with it because it's LA and it's the Lakers, and that's just kind of how it goes, unfortunately.
but if you got an unprotected first from Utah in a Rocco trade, and then you got an unprotected first in from LA, that's how you get, like, Harden was traded for future, like, what, 3 future first unprotected and stuff. Drew Holiday was traded for 3 future first unprotected. But, like, if you have other teams unprotected, it kind of helps you keep somewhat of your future without having to ruin that, but you could also make an all-in move now.
Yeah, I could see LA doing an unprotected pick for Norm. I have a lot harder time seeing Utah, who is run better than LA, giving up an unprotected future first for Robert Covington, who's going to be a free agent.
Yeah.
So that's why when the Robert Covington to Utah stuff just doesn't make sense to me. I honestly, the trade that would make the most sense there is if we valued Royce O'Neal, and he's on a 3-year, like $9 million a year contract, and he's kind of an underrated guy. And we valued him plus, I don't know, a minimum contract plus like 2 seconds.
So he could step or put his foot under Anthony Simon's foot in practice every day.
Hopefully not. Hopefully that's not a repeating occurrence. Royce O'Neal, let me look up his stats. Let me see how he's been shooting this year. He's shooting 48% from the field and 48% from the field and 40% from 3. He's a good defender.
I don't think they will trade him.
I mean, but if they want Rocco that bad, I would see. I think they would trade him over trading a unprotected future first. But maybe that GM doesn't think he'll be there in 2028 and doesn't care, and the ownership's just like, screw it, send it. I just, that's tough. So I don't know. It's like, do they want more kind of front court defensive help compared to like a 6'4" Royce O'Neal? That's kind of the question there with them. So I think that's the trade that makes the most sense, is they trade Royce O'Neal. Like, we flip Rocco for Royce O'Neal, which is something that we haven't really talked about. Would you be down for that?
I don't know. I'm not a huge Royce O'Neal guy. I mean, he's doing well this year, I guess, but I don't know. I'd rather trade Rocco to a team that was willing to give a first than if they weren't.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I wouldn't hate Royce O'Neal. 3-and-D guy that can pass a little bit. Like, that's fine on a decent contract for multiple years. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the Larry Nance Jr. type of contract role. A little bit of playmaking ability and can defend. Royce O'Neal's just obviously a much more respectable 3-point shooter. So he's been starting for them. I don't know if they want to go bigger and start like Bogdanovich with Rocco with Gobert. I don't think that makes their defense better. So I don't know why they would do that, especially since O'Neal's been a better 3-point shooter. So I'm actually kind of agree with you. I don't see why they would do that. But I don't know. If they're interested in Rocco, that's the only way I can see them making it happen on Portland's end.
Yeah. Unless there was a team that valued Ingles. But yeah.
Yeah, I just don't see a team valuing Ingles that would value, I don't know, like they would value Rocco more, I think. Because they're like identical contracts. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like if you found a team that values Ingles, you could just be like, actually, why don't you take Rocco and give us back a first round pick then, since you're so desperate that you want Joe Ingles. So AJ, what else is due, man? That's why you gotta come here for your trade stuff. Tyler Cornwall, who said that? Because that's the worst trade idea ever. I want to know who said that, so I know not to read their stuff. We should trade Ant to the Clippers for 2 minimum contract guys and 2 future seconds. Ant's untouchable. And
yeah, Sean, that makes no sense. I know it's not you coming up with it. But...
Yeah. Derek White would make no sense. Oh, of course it was Blazers Edge, Tyler. People are like, I don't know. I've tried not to bag on Blazers Edge lately, but then they come out with crap like that. I fully 100% believe that they came up with that trade. Ant for 2 minimum contract guys and 2 future seconds. That's absolutely absurd. Don't click on Blazers Edge links. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, that's the type of stuff they come up with. They just throw stuff at the wall to get their clicks. They've chased clicks a little bit too much for my liking. If you like them, cool. That's fine. And they have some solid people there, and it's nothing personal against them. Whatever. Just some of the stuff they put out there drives me absolutely insane.
It was Anthony Simons and Tony Snell for Keon Johnson, Jason Preston, and 2 second-round picks.
Why that? What is that? Huh?
Mm-hmm. The Blazers may not be able to afford to keep Simons, so that's why they would make this trade.
Was it a guy that wrote that we don't know, or?
Yeah, I don't know who this is.
Bro, if it's like they can't afford to keep Simons, then you throw him into a deal to get something better than Simons.
The other trades in this article: Zeller for Bielitsa.
Why in the world would Golden State do that?
Nurk and Snell for Nunn, Taylor Horton Tucker, and 2 seconds.
Ew.
Covington for Saric and Jalen Smith.
We can't resign Jalen Smith.
I know. Covington for Bagley and a second-round pick.
Oh, God, of course that's in there. They love Bagley over there.
It was like one trade to do with each Pacific Division team was the article.
What?
Yeah.
Who pays attention to divisions? I mean, if you can't pay Ant, that's because you're paying CJ and Norm. Okay? So you sell CJ and Norm. And if you sell Ant, you could get a lot better package than Keon Johnson in 2 seconds. Bro, imagine if Neil Olshey traded Anthony Simons for Keon Johnson in 2 seconds, and then Anthony Simons became a 25-point per game scorer.
He pretty much is already.
Yeah, he's been one when he's starting, and he's 22 years old, and he's Dame's protege. Imagine Dame if we trade him for Keon freaking Johnson. Like, where do people come up with this stuff? Like, what? I don't. That's ridiculous. If you can't pay him, and you really want to sell him, you attach him with the CJ and go and get a Ben Simmons. You know what I mean? Like, you attach him and go and get a better player. Honestly, I don't think Boston's really looking to trade Jaylen Brown. But if you came to them with like CJ, Simons, Little, you flipped Rocco to Chicago and you had a second or two, I think they would have to take that because they need playmaking. And Ant would be their playmaker of the future. And if they get CJ as well, Ant CJ backcourt with Jason Tatum, like, that could make some things happen. And you got some solid front court players there as well. I mean, it gets you in the door of trades that you can't otherwise get in right now because he's that good of a young prospect. So you use him in that way if you're really trying to trade him because you can't afford him. But if you can't afford him, just trade the starting shooting guard that you're paying $31 million to, and trade the starting small forward who you're paying $15.5 million to. There you go. Problem solved. Get expirings back.
Okay,
Boom.
yeah, I mean,
you still have your piece for the future. Like, if you're that desperate.
Okay, to me, I've been saying this for, a month now. It's obvious to me Ant and Dame is the future backcourt. You move on from CJ and Norm. But let's just say, hypothetically, we didn't want to pay Ant. Why would we trade him for 2 seconds? Even if that was the case. You find a team with a trade exception, there's like 10 teams that have a trade exception that could just absorb him, and you get like 3 firsts or something for him. Like,
yeah, that's his value.
You trade him to the Thunder could take him without taking anything back, and we could easily probably get 3 or 4 firsts because they have like 18,000 of them. And
yep.
Like, so you do something like that. You don't trade him to the freaking Clippers. And
this chat, if you
like
haven't,
that's insulting. Like that. I don't know how you could watch the Blazers the last 3 weeks, or 3.5 weeks now, and like say that Ant's only worth a kind of scrub rookie and 2 second-round picks. Like, that's insulting, man. Like,
it is. Like, dude, honestly, if we don't have a lot of written content on our website, but like if we legitimately had writers and one of them came to us with that, I mean, I wouldn't be mean or anything. I don't want to portray it that way, but there's no way we would let them post it. There's no way we would. There's no way, right? Like, I can't stand websites to just throw crappy trades out there. Chat, if you haven't paid attention to us a lot, or if you're like new to Blazers Uprise, biggest pet peeve this time of year, Eric, is crap like that. I can't stand it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand it. Yeah, because then I don't know. The crappy trade ideas are always just full in force here, and it's not fun to deal with.
Yeah. And for the record, too, we don't have to attach Snell to any trade just to make it even number of players coming in and out, because we have an extra roster spot, too, so that always bugs me as well.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I wouldn't not want to attach Snell so we don't have to see him play anymore, but,
Yep. Sean Dawes, you're about to get a 5-minute ban. A 5-minute timeout.
That was a joke.
I know, but still unacceptable. And hell no to Grayson Allen, man. I don't want that dude on my team. Joke or not a joke. Could you imagine if that's our trade deadline? Is we find a way to get Grayson Allen? Oh, that would suck. Anyway.
What do we have? 17 days?
17 days until trade deadline. It's almost here. We'll have your trade deadline stream as always, chat. As far as Norm goes, sounds like he's going to return. People were speculating, and we speculated that he might be about to get traded, considering the timing of like the personal reasons that he's been missing games for. But now he's off the injury report for that. So it sounds like if he's not traded by tomorrow, he's going to play tomorrow. What are your thoughts on that? Or do you have any?
Yeah. Interesting side note, Marcus Smart's trade ineligibility expires tomorrow. Just for FYI. Can call another trade, right? Norm Powell for Marcus Smart.
Norm Powell for Marcus Smart. I would... we need... Oh, God. I've talked about how we need, like, a heart and soul defensively.
Mm-hmm.
But also lately, we've been good defensively without it. So I've kind of backed off that a little bit. But then also, it's like, that doesn't... I don't know. I don't know what that accomplishes. Like, Marcus Smart, I don't really want him starting at the 3.
Yeah.
So is he going to come off the bench?
Yeah, I mean,
we'd have to trade
off
CJ
the bench in the past. I would like a CJ trade on top of that, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's like, and that's the thing. If we did that, it's like, okay, I don't know. Like, long term, I don't know how that would necessarily make things easier. I guess I wouldn't hate it, but it'd
I
be
think
kind of
he's
gross to me.
everything we want Smart to be defensively, or Powell to be defensively. So I would understand the process, and I know for a fact that that's one of Billups. If he could handpick a guy, that's one of his like favorites from another team that he would want a player like that or a Dylan
Yeah,
Brooks type. He always talks about those kind of guys in press conferences and stuff.
he's Marcus Smart is just bad offensively.
Yeah,
Like,
especially
dude,
this year. But maybe on a team that has a little better spacing or something. I don't know.
maybe, but like he ain't helping with the spacing. He's shooting 30%
Yeah.
from three. Um, I, dude, I just everything comes back to Herb Jones. To be honest,
Yeah.
everything comes back to why. I just wish we could have gotten Herb Jones in the draft because defensively he's up there like potential all defensive team, but he's shooting 40% from three and 50% from the field, and for a forward can like has some secondary playmaking ability. Like I just wish we had him, man, because a lot of these defensive options are just terrible offensively, and I don't know like what contending level team has started a like a recently has started a defensive oriented guy who doesn't space the floor and like struggles offensively. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to make those guys work, and most of the times good like the best teams in the league, they have good defense because collectively they play good team defense, don't make mistakes. You know what I mean? Like that's the main factor. That's what it comes down to. Like one guy isn't going to fix that, right? They do all that with guys that can also shoot, can also, pass in Draymond's case, that have some offensive positives. I look at Marcus Smart. Outside of his 5 assists per game, I mean, for a combo guard, that's not. I mean, that's solid. But outside of that, nothing is positive offensively for him. It just
He's
sucks.
kind
I
of
could see.
streaky, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there'd just be some games. I know Blazer fans would pull their hair out. Some games where he just can't hit a thing because he'll keep shooting. He's one of those guys that won't stop shooting, for better or
I don't know.
worse.
Maybe he wouldn't under Billups. Maybe Billups could help him out in that regard.
I mean, maybe, but I'm not counting on Billups's track record with vets. Billups has had a much better track record with young players. Um, so I wish we had Herb Jones, man. I mean, uh, uh, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't
Well,
hate
we could
it.
we could still get Herb too.
I feel like he might be untouchable,
Yeah. I
and I
mean, I
feel like
tried
he
telling you
should be
that.
untouchable. Yeah. If I was New Orleans, I wouldn't trade him for CJ. I wouldn't trade him for Norm. But it's also New Orleans, so maybe they will. Like that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Uh, yeah. Uh, I don't think you're getting anything other than Herb. Like I think it would take. I don't think they give up Herb for Norm. I think they would maybe give up Herb for CJ. But extra value on top of that, outside of just the matching salary, I think is really really hard. Because he's like a fan favorite there, and like they suck defensively, so it's like your best defensive player, you're gonna trade him for CJ McCollum when you suck defensively. We talk about like how for the Blazers, trades we make have to make us better defensively. I feel like New Orleans is in the same spot, so that's kind of the tough thing there, in my opinion. Anyway,
Yeah, I don't
anything
know.
else?
I mean,
Go ahead.
you don't know. David Griffin could be looking at it like, man, we can trade, exchange a second round pick for Norm. Like, it, I don't think it's that crazy. I think he could justify it, but he has become like kind of a fan favorite. So
I mean, David Griffin could justify it to himself and continue being a horrible GM. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not ruling it out because of who's running the Pelicans. I'm just saying, like, logically speaking, it doesn't make sense for them to trade Herb. It honestly makes more sense for them to try and trade Brandon Ingram, in my opinion.
But
Honestly, it
they're not
also
going to
makes
think that way.
well. That's why I said in my opinion. Yeah. Yeah, my opinion is different than David Griffin's opinion, probably. So, I mean, it's possible that he's gettable because they have Ingram at the 3 and Zion at the 4. And they don't want to trade either of those guys. They want to build around those guys, so they're willing to trade Herb Jones, who would maybe be coming off the bench once Zion returns. So, yeah, that's like the reason why I could potentially see something happen. If trade deadline day, Eric, if we flip Norm for Herb Jones, it is a successful trade deadline day. I don't even care about the rest. Well, I do care about the rest, but like even if we don't do anything else, I'm happy. I'm happy. That's all. If that trade goes down, Herb Jones' salary is like $1.7 million. New Orleans has a trade exception that could fit Norman Powell into it.
Mm-hmm.
They have a $17 million trade player exception. So if we traded Norm for Herb straight up, just absolute dub, but then also we get a $15.5 million TPE.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that's my pipe dream at this point. I was gonna drop a video on that, probably still will. I was planning to drop it tonight or tomorrow. So spoiler. Anyway, anything else you wanna say for this stream, Eric?
Well, Connor Lamb asked why we're so high on Herb Jones. I answered in chat, but for those that aren't reading chat, elite defender, shoots 40% from 3, and good finisher this year too. Can handle the ball a little bit, play make a little bit. I mean, what's not to like on a minimum contract? So
Decent athlete, like
yeah.
I mean, the dude. I think the dude has all-star potential long term, and if not, will be a phenomenal role player. And already is a phenomenal role player. I mean, his splits are 50, 40, 81. Like he averaged over 3 assists per game his last year in college too, and that was on a good Alabama team with some good guards. So it wasn't like they were just gonna give him the ball because he was the best player and he was gonna make everything happen that way. They had some good players. So, dude can pass too. So it's like use him in there. Like he could be Ben Simmons without the question marks, in my opinion. A little bit shorter, obviously, than Ben Simmons. Maybe not quite that level of ball handler or passer, but like we don't need Ben Simmons to be a playmaker if we keep Nurk and we have Dame and Ant in the starting lineup. We don't need a 7 assist per game guy. We need a guy that can just like play make out of certain situations. You know, a secondary type of playmaker, and Herb Jones could do that, right? Defensively, he's close to Simmons. Offensively, he's a better player because he can play off the ball. He doesn't need the ball in his hands to be effective. You don't have to worry about trying to fit him in. He can space the floor. He can play off Dame and CJ. Ben Simmons can't. So, not making the argument that Herb Jones is necessarily better. But when you look at all that, and then you look at his contract, he's making 5% of what Ben Simmons is making. That's the guy we need to go after, if he's available. Because I think he can be 80% of what Ben Simmons would be for us. And hopefully take a lot less to get him. And he's on a very cheap contract. And he's only 23. Like, yeah. That's the guy, in my opinion. Spoiled the video, but there's only 120 people in here out of a lot more subscribers, so I just thought that was a perfect, like, it's not a clickbait title, but that was a perfect title. The one guy the Blazers need to get this trade deadline.
That is pretty clickbaity,
but it's not clickbaity because it's true.
Okay.
You know, but that's a
what sub should know.
It's a title that makes sense, that gets clicks. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe people call that clickbaity. Only for 100 people that rock with us on the second channel, Connor. Only for the OGs that rock with us over here. It's an attention grabbing. There, perfect. Attention grabbing title. Anyway, Sorry, I got a Herb Jones tangent. Like I do every time we talk about Herb Jones, Eric.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say for this one?
No, thank you everyone for watching, and I hope everyone has a good night. We'll see you tomorrow for the game.
Yep. Stream tomorrow, stream Wednesday. So back to back. So be ready for that. We will drop power rankings on our website and tweet out the link shortly after the stream concludes. So be ready for that as well in case you want to see our power rankings. Just go follow the Blazers Uprise Twitter page at Blazers Uprise YT. Anyway, thank you for making us a part of your Monday afternoon. Hope you have a good rest of your day. We will catch you tomorrow. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.